Good evening, Dhamma friends. Welcome back. Today, we are going to discuss about uh, an interesting aspect of, I think, the most interesting aspect of the Four Noble Truths. So, before we begin, let's get started by paying respect to the book. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Today is day 18 of our Sutta discussion series. We call it Sutta Discovery. And in today's Sutta Discovery, we are going to discuss about the most important, I would say, dimension, or I would say the peculiar thing about the Four Noble Truths in the way how the Buddha understood that. For some of you, this might be a little bit new thing to learn, but it's not new. You can see that the Buddha clearly explained to all of us that he presented his understanding about the Four Noble Truths in Tiparivatta and Dwadasakara context. We had to understand what is Tiparivatta, what is Dwadasakara, and how does it relate to the Four Noble Truths. Right. So let's see the text first. So by last Tuesday, we had done up until what you call the Fourth Noble Truth, and then from this point onwards, you can see Dhammacakka. Now the word Dhammacakka, what you call the Sutta's name Dhammacakka, is there within a very interesting context. Dhamma means Dhamma and Chakka means wheel. Can anyone think about how does the Sutta got the name Dhammacakka? Dhammacakka. How did the Sutta Dhammacakkapavatthana Sutta get the name of Dhammacakka? There is a reason for that. The reason why Dhammacakkapavatthana Sutta took its name, its title as Dhammacakka, it is because of the Tiparivatta Dwadasakara context. Tiparivatta Dwadasakara means there are three perspectives we have to understand in terms of the Four Noble Truths, and there are 12, we could say three as you can see, three perspectives and 12 aspects. So by understanding three perspectives and 12 aspects of the Four Noble Truths, one is going to attain Sotapatti in the first stage, and then thereby that person continues the Dhamma journey. So then, what is Tiparivatta? What is Dwadasakara? I think we have to read the text to understand that. Okay, so we have discussed about the Four Noble Truths before. The first Noble Truth, the second Noble Truth, the third Noble Truth, and the fourth Noble Truth in the previous discussion. I mean, starting from, ending from 53. So here we can see how did the Buddha says that Idam dukkhaṃ ariya sacchanti me bhikkhave ubbe anusutesu dhammesu chakkhum udapadi jnanam udapadi paññā udapadi vicca udapadi āloka udapadi tanko panidam dukkhaṃ ariya saccam pariññeyanti me bhikkhave. The same thing happens. So I think because of our timing and your understanding about the Pali, I could perhaps summarize the translation and then sort of give you a way to think about this area in a practical way. Now, by this time, even the 5 ascetics were not very convinced, right? 5 ascetics even did not accept the Buddha's teaching even at this point. That's why the Buddha had to say that you can see those statesmen as we continue. He is asking 5 ascetics, had I ever told you that I became the Buddha before? Because the 5 ascetics didn't want to accept the Buddha, even though they took care of him at this point, by this point, but they did not want to accept his Buddhahood. So that is why the Buddha had to bring these sections actually. This is the noble truth of unsatisfactoriness. Thus, 5 ascetics, in regards to things unheard before, there arose in me chakku. Chakku means what does chakku mean? Does it mean our physical eyes? No. This means the Dhamma eye. So we have our naked eye or naked eyes, and then we have the Dhamma eye. Normally we are going to get into trouble when we are seeing things with our naked eyes. When we don't bring our Dhamma eye, then we are using our naked eyes. That means, yes, we are supposed to use our naked eyes, but with the naked eyes, we are also needing to bring the Dhamma eye. Dhamma eye means you are going to bring wise attention, wisdom onto see. Now, the Buddha says, in terms of the first noble truth, he got this Dhamma eye, Chakkun Udapan. That means there arose Dhamma eye. Before that, he had also the naked eye. Then Jnana Udapan. Jnana here means, you could say, knowledge. The correct knowledge arose in him. What is the correct knowledge? Because by that time, there were lots of varieties, I would say, knowledge varieties that were used by different other teachers. But now the Buddha says he had the correct knowledge. He got the correct knowledge. Panya Udapadi. He got the wisdom. And Vijja Udapadi. He got the true knowledge. What is the untrue knowledge here? That is Avijja. Avijja is the opposite of this. So he got the Vijja, true knowledge. Then Aloku Udapan, there arose the light in his life. So with regard to the first noble truth, he got all these things within his mind. And then he understood that there is a certain thing that one has to practice. Let's say you are an unenlightened being, then you are supposed to practice certain things to understand the first noble truth. Now he's talking to other people. We call it parinyaya. There is a role. There are certain things that one has to do in terms of understanding the first noble truth. We call it parinyaya, to be fully understood. Right? Then again, the same same phrasing recurs over here. So we don't have to go that again. And then he's talking about the second noble truth. You can see here, Idan dukkha samudaya ariya satcha. Same thing happened. Chakku udapadi, there arose the Dhamma eye, Jnana udapadi, knowledge arose, Panya udapadi, wisdom arose, Vijja udapadi, true knowledge arose, and the light arose. But what is the difference between the role, the risk, what you call the activity that someone has to do in terms of the second noble truth is, you can see, pahatabban. Earlier it was parinyeya. Now it is pahatabban. Pahatabban means what is the role someone has to do? What should be done by somebody in terms of second noble truth? One has to abandon, remove. What is to be removed? Tanha, craving. Right? Second noble truth is about tanha. Same phrasing, and then we go to the third noble truth. You can see over here, dukkha, nirodha, arya satya. It's over here. So, what is the role in terms of the third noble truth that someone has to do? Satchikata, to be realized. So the role of the third noble truth is to be realized. That means Nibbana has to be realized. Now, normally we are reading the Nibbana, right? Isn't it? Throughout Dhamma talks, Dhamma discussions, we are reading Nibbana. And we are hearing Dhamma talks about the Nibbana. Who read about the Dhamma. Then we are reading, but Nibbana has to be realized. So that's the role of the third noble truth. Then the same phrasing, occurs. You can see Chakku Udapadi, Jnana Udapadi. So Buddha got all these things. Panya Udapadi, Vicha Udapadi, Aloka. Coming to the fourth noble truth, see here. Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada Satcha. This is about the Noble Eightfold Path. What is to be done in terms of the fourth noble truth? Do we just read it? No. There's something to be done about the fourth noble truth. That means Bhave Dhamma. We have to practice it. Practice the Noble Eightfold Path. So Bhave Dhamma is the role that one has to do in terms of the fourth noble truth. Same thing reappears over here. All right. So at this point, the discussion goes to another level. So we are going to mark a certain area. So, but we have to finish from 101 to probably 117. We could make it. We're going back to the point we start. All right. I think this could be a little bit unclear point to some people over here. So I'm going to share a poster which I made about these sections. You can see here, 4 noble truths, 3 perspectives, and 12 aspects. Now you can see over here, first noble truth, second noble truth, third noble truth, and the fourth noble truth. So each noble truth has 3 types of things that we have to understand. Satchanyana, Ichchanyana, Hatanyana, with regard to the first noble truth. Satchanyana, Kichchanyana, Katanyana, with regard to the second noble truth. Satchanyana, Kichchanyana, Katanyana, with regard to the third noble truth. Then Satchanyana, Kichchanyana, Katanyana, with regard to the fourth noble truth. Now, what do these 3 aspects mean? That means every noble truth has to be understood within the 3 aspects. What are they? Satcha means knowledge. So you can see Satcha is relevant to the 4 noble truth. Satcha Jnana is here, 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 here. That means we should have a certain knowledge about each noble truth. That's why Satcha. So the first thing in terms of understanding the 4 noble truth is to have a certain knowledge about each noble truth. Second is understanding what should be done with regard to the first, second, third, fourth noble truths. That means mere reading about the truths are not, noble truths are not enough. We have to understand that we have to do some certain activities, certain roles in order to understand each noble truth. You can see Kitcha means, you can see Kitcha, 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 Kitcha. What needs to be done? Then, as a consequence of doing what is to be done in with regard to the each noble truth, you are coming to a certain success, the fruition of that understanding. We call it kata. Kata, kata, kata. That means Satchanyana means what you call the knowledge about that particular noble truth. And Kichanyana means what is to be done in regard to understanding that noble truth. Katanyana means the point that you understand that you have fully understood that particular noble truth. So this is the way how someone has to understand the what you call the realization of the Four Noble Truths. In other words, I could introduce this Tiparivatta and Dwadasakara as a what you call as the proper process of understanding the Four Noble Truths. This is what needs to be happening in our Dhammacakkapavatthana. Now we know all these noble truths separately, but when it comes to the practice, then this is how we are going to work with the Four Noble Truths. Each noble truth has to be practiced within three aspects. Satcha, Kitcha, Kata. Satcha, Kitcha, Kata. Then how do you get 12 aspects? So you can see if you multiply three, what you call aspects by 4, because each noble truth has 3 aspects, then you will get 3 multiplied by 4. You can see here there are 3, 6, 9, 12. You get 12 aspects. I think still you might not properly understand what they could mean. So we have to go one by one about these aspects. Okay, what is the first noble truth? The noble truth of, you could say, dukkha. What does it mean? What does dukkha ariya satcha mean? Dukkha ariya satcha mean that there is a dukkha that is prevailing in our life. Right? There is a certain dukkha that is prevailing in our life. Now, what is to be done in regard to the first noble truth? Let's go back again. Knowledge about the dukkha. Have you seen people who are going through dukkha with some happiness? Have you seen such people? Experience is very individualistic, but when you hear what they are saying, they might say that this is my happiness. They don't feel that it is a dukkha, right? Now, for somebody who does not like winter in a very cold country, they might never complain about the winter. Some of them, maybe most of them, who are very, what you call, strange to that climate. But from outside, somebody else can feel that they are going through dukkha with some happiness. Maybe they can attribute certain things. We are in a good country. We are enjoying the snowman. Right? So you are bringing all those validations to your dukkha. This is a very normal example. Even if you see sometimes other examples in some other people's life. So the idea is that there are many people who don't think that they are going through dukkha. In a way, it is good. Otherwise, you will complain a lot, right? Right? It is good that you don't know that this is dukkha, right? So it's like the story of the what do you call the Ganesha, the Hindu Ganesha, right? The Hindu Ganesha is a Hindu story. There was the saying that he is going to be affected by the Saturn. Saturn is the planet that is causing what you call bad things on someone. So it is said that the Ganesha changed into somebody who is eating what you call bamboo or something. So he wanted to get away from the Saturn. So finally Saturn had to say to the Ganesha, see, you've been eating bamboos in the forest, so you can't get rid of me. I'm all over. I'm omnipotent, right? So you've been going through dukkha, right? So anyways, dukkha is a very individualistic thing. But what we are trying to understand with regard to the dukkha here is, I mean, as someone who has been reading this, I don't call that everything is dukkha. This is a pretty misunderstanding and probably not the good way to introduce Buddhism. Now, there are people who are directly talking, life is on dukkha. You have to understand that dukkha. This statement itself might be a little bit negative idea. But what we have to understand is, the more we understand what is happening in our life, in particular changes, the changes that are happening, the happier we become. Our happiness is mostly depending upon how much we understand the changes. Right? So we don't understand changes very much, so that we are always into dukkha. Even you understand the what you call the changes, there may be still things happening. But the more you understand dukkha, then definitely, I mean, the changes with regard to dukkha. So, because there are three types of dukkha, right? Dukkha, dukkhata, viparinama dukkhata, sankhara dukkha. Maybe I write that. First one is dukkha, dukkhata. Second one is viparinama dukkhata. Third one is sankhara dukkhata. Dukkha, dukkhata means it is the aversion to the dukkha. Now, when the dukkha is happening, a lot of people build up hatred, isn't it? They naturally build up hatred. This is called dukkha dukkhata. There is already dukkha and they are bringing another dukkha to that. Right? Now, let's say someone is already angry and then that person is trying to instigate you and you are getting angry as well. So, you are creating two dukkhas at the same time. Right? Dukkha dukkhata. So, creating aversion to the dukkha. Then the second one is viparinama dukkhata. Viparinama means changes. The dukkha that is coming to someone when that person does not understand the changes. Now, when you think about the viparinama, this is none other than what you call anicca. How do we understand anicca? Is anicca a very beautiful concept? Now, where do people use anicca? Tell me. Maybe you can ask this as a question at the end. What are the contexts? What is the most popular context? Or what are the occasions where people use the concept of anicca? Mostly when someone passed away. They say anicca sankhara. True. Anicca sankhara means all conditioned phenomena are subject to changes. But do they equally use that idea when other people are going well in their life? They are passing their exams, they are getting a good job, they are making good money, they are spending time happily. Are they using anicca for those occasions? Because Buddha never said viparinama or anicca means only the bad things, only the negative things. He said all the changes must be understood. If someone doesn't want to understand changes, then there is suffering, there is dukkha. Right? That is how dukkha is built up. Now, we can discuss this in many ways. Even if you look at someone is becoming maybe a very unwise person is becoming a wise person for whatever the reason, then we have to accept that it is a change. It is anicca because changes are happening in that person's life. Right? Maybe every success is a kind of anicca. So we have to bring anicca to all these aspects, not even negative, but also all the positive activities, because aniccata, what you call the changes. All changes are part of anicca. So now I'm trying to tell you is that when you look at the Tiparivatta in terms of the first noble truth, what are you required to have? You are required to have Satcha Jnana with regard to the first noble truth. Satcha Jnana means knowledge about the dukkha. So I'm asking you to think about, do you have a good knowledge about the dukkha? Or you are only marginalizing, you are only quoting certain dukkhas in your life, right? So dukkha is something that we have to understand, not to worry about. The more you understand, because if Nibbana is happiness, what we are going to do? If Nibbana is the happiness, then our plan is to understand dukkha. The more you understand dukkha, then then uh, faster you are in the happiness, in that particular happiness. So according to Buddhism, if you are trying to understand changes as they are, then definitely that creates lots of happiness. Actually, in our life, what we are doing, in other words, is that we are changing things. The more we change things, the better we are, right? I always make this statement. Sometimes we are thinking this is the best way to sit down. And then after some time of that sitting, we understand, I think I need to turn to the right side. Then you stay in that right side for some time. And after a while, you get to know that right, staying onto the right, turn into the right side also, giving you a kind of pain. So you are going to turn to the left side. And you are going to stay in that position also, posture also. Then now you have, sit for a while and you have turned to this side and that side. Now what you want is to stand, but you may not be able to stand. That means we are finding happiness by shifting our postures in that example. So what I'm trying to tell you is that try to think about how does the dukkha prevail in your life. Don't take it as a negative thing, right? So we need lots of other gadgets, not gadgets, other gears to understand dukkha. The most important thing to understand dukkha is patience, right? Think about a day that you miss your flight. Think about a day that you could not go to work in time. You are very punctual, I think. Malaysians are very punctual to work. So, and and let's say, think about a moment that you lost something because of your whatever other things, right? How did you manage that moment? Maybe you were late in the traffic for work. Did you ever think that this is a good moment to practice patience? Right? So we need lots of patience to understand dukkha. Not saying that life is dukkha, but by bringing patience, understanding onto different moments of our life, events of our life, we are able to understand dukkha in the proper way with different changes related to the dukkha. So that kind of wider understanding about the dukkha is very essential in terms of understanding the first aspect with regard to the first noble truth. As you can see, Satcha Jnana. Second aspect, Kiccha Jnana. First one is Satcha Jnana. Second one is Kiccha Jnana with regard to the first noble. To be fully understood, Kiccha Jnana. What does it mean? Now, you are thinking about dukkha. How does dukkha work in my life? How to deal with the dukkha? How to understand dukkha properly? But this is not happening random. It's not happening all of a sudden. So you must do certain things to understand. So with the Kitta Jnana, you are trying to understand how to understand dukkha within a broader, larger context in my life. So I have to keep myself very open-minded. I have to understand what's going on with lots of other qualities, patience, mindfulness, upekka, equanimity. You are trying to, uh, work on it, work on understanding the first noble truth. That activity is called kichanya. So I could say, what is to be done, what you are supposed to do is called kichanya. Uh, then you initially need a good knowledge about it, and then you understanding what should be done. Then let's say you are successful in the activity. I would say what is to be done. Then you come to a point called katanyana. That means you uh, uh, convinced yourself that I already understood the first noble truth, right? So the first is a good knowledge about the first noble truth. Second is understanding what is to be done as a role. Third is you successfully understand the first noble truth. So you convinced yourself, now I have this full understanding about the first noble truth. That is called what you call tiparivatta in terms of the first noble truth, and then how someone is going to practice tiparivatta in terms of the first noble truth. Let's go to the second one. Same tiparivatta, satchajan, kitchajan, katajan. Knowledge about the origin of dukkha. That means this is the idea of the second noble truth. That means origin of dukkha. What is the origin of the dukkha? How does dukkha originate? Dukkha comes from tanha. Then you initially need a good understanding about, good knowledge about tanha. How many tanhas are there? I think we discussed all that. How many tanhas are there? How many cravings are there? There are three cravings: kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. Craving about the sensual desires, craving about the next life, craving about uh, this life, thinking that there is no next life. So when someone is trying to understand how does tanha work in my life, by understanding kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha, that person is coming up with a good knowledge about the second noble truth, which is called dukkha samudaya arya satya. You can see. But just by having a knowledge is not enough. Now, how many times you have listened to Dhamma talks about the Four Noble Truths? That means you may have the knowledge, but knowledge itself is not enough. You need to understand what is to be done in terms of the second noble truth. As you can see here, kichanya. That means you have to abandon. Now, the first noble truth, you can see, you have to fully understand the dukkha. Then in terms of the second noble truth's activity, role, you have to abandon. What is to be abandoned or given up? You have to give up. You have to give up tanha. You have to give up tanha. Tanha has to be given up. Kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. That is the role. By learning the second noble truth is not enough. You need to give it up or give them up as time goes. Then the third thing is, if you successfully give up the three types of tanha, you come to a point that you have successfully abandoned, or you have successfully removed the three types of tanha, which is called the second noble truth's three aspects. I think so far what we have discussed is that the Buddha said in terms of the Four Noble Truths, we have to do we have to understand the we have to deal with the noble truths in three ways. We call them tiparivatta. So when you deal with each noble truth in three ways, there will be 3 multiplied by 4, 12 perspectives. But each noble truth has 3 perspectives to be done. Then we are going to the third noble truth. This is what you call the noble truth of the cessation of dukkha. This means nibbana. This is the aim. So here it also needs a good knowledge about the nibbana. I think we discussed about nibbana a couple of weeks ago. We discussed about what is nibbana, what is nibbutti, what are the 2 types of nibbana states. Remember? So now you are supposed to have a good understanding about the nibbana that is given in the text. Right? But a mere understanding does not lead you to the required level. You also need to understand what is to be done, then to be realized. Nibbana is to be realized. Now here, to be understood, nibbana is to be realized. Is there a very similar way that we all realize nibbana, or maybe are the ways of different people attaining nibbana different from each other? There is no one way to realize nibbana. There are many ways. We already discussed about one sutta called Attakanagara, where we understand there are 11 ways to attain nibbana. 11 ways. That means you all need to understand that we may attain nibbana not in one way, but in different ways. So we have to do a little bit of reading and then understand nibbana by experience. I mean, how we understand about the removing, abandoning of the three tanhas. At the same time, we need to understand that we need to realize nibbana. Realizing nibbana and understand nibbana are 2 things. So in order to realize nibbana, you must definitely practice what is coming up in the next, the 4th noble truth. Then after you successfully realize, then you come to a point that you have already realized nibbana. Katha-jnana. Satya-jnana, Kicca-jnana, Katha-jnana. Call it Katha-jnana in terms of the 3rd noble truth. And then the last noble truth, which is the practice to come to this point. Satya-jnana in regard to the 4th noble truth, knowledge about the Noble Eightfold Path. I think I discussed about the Noble Eightfold Path in many sessions. If you could remember, Noble Eightfold Path is a very structured practice. Right? That means one has to start from Sammaditthi, then Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Kammanta, Ajiva. There's a linear process. But as you practice, you come to a point that you have to, in daily life, put all those 8 noble path factors into practice simultaneously. Not you do one thing today and then tomorrow the second noble path factor. So at a certain point, you are trying to practice all those 8 together. Now, according to the Satya-jnana, what you call the first jnana with regard to the 4th noble truth, you are supposed to have a good knowledge about how Noble Eightfold Path works. How does it work? We have to start from Sammaditthi, and this is how it works. And we also have to understand that each noble path factor is supported by 3 other path factors: Sammaditthi, Samma Vayama, and Samma Sankappa. So this understanding is essential. Otherwise, you are not able to practice it. Especially you are not coming to the Satya-jnana. You will have a very fractional, very marginalized understanding about the Noble Eightfold Path. Now you understand, you already have a good knowledge. Then what is to be done? You are supposed to understand, what should I do? I have a good knowledge about it. What should I do in terms of the Noble Eightfold Path? I have to develop each noble path fact. I am supposed to develop. But a lot of people, they pick here and there, they learn, bits and pieces, and they don't practice as a development of the noble path factors simultaneously. Maybe they may have started from Samma Sati, meditation. So when you start from meditation, how do you have the Samadhi? You have to start from Samadhi. That is how you are going to work on it. So that is how you are bringing the true development to the practice. Okay, so that is called Kichanya. Kichanya, with regard to the fourth noble truth, is to develop. And then let's say your practice is going to be very successful, then you come to a point that you have already developed the noble eightfold path, thereby you are becoming an arahant at a certain point. So if you look at again about Tiparivatta and Dwadasakara, this shows that the Four Noble Truths must be understood in three perspectives and in 12 aspects. If you are not bringing these three perspectives and 12 aspects to the practice of your Noble Eightfold Path, you will never be able to, journey in your spiritual path. So that is very essential. Now let's go back to the text again. All right. So now we are here because we have discussed about three aspects and 12 perspectives about the Noble Eightfold Path, the Four Noble Truths. Okay, so here. Evam Tipari, here. Ya, 1 or 2. Yava Kivancha me Bhikkave Imesu Chatusu Arya Satchesu Evam Tiparivattang Dwadasakara. So long for ascetics in regard to the Four Noble Truths. Turn like this in three ways, three perspectives and 12 aspects. Yatha bhutang jnana dassana suvisuddhang ahosi. The Buddha says, true knowledge and vision of these Four Noble Truths as they really are was not thoroughly purified. Now he's being very honest about it. That means up until I became the Buddha, there was no purification. That means I have not been able to understand the three perspectives, the Parivatta and 12 aspects in regard to the Four Noble Truths. But I was able to purify them, as you can see here. For that long, to the world with its divine beings, Maras and Brahmas, with its ascetics and Brahmins, its Deva humans, I did not claim to have fully awakened to the unsurpassed perfect awakening. Buddha says, till I understand the Four Noble Truths with three perspectives and 12 aspects, Parivatta and Dwadasakara, I had never told, proclaimed, declared to anybody that I became the Buddha. So he's trying to tell 5 ascetics that I am very honest about my attainment, my enlightenment. And then Yato chakho bhikkhave imesu chatusu arya satyesu evam tiparivattan dwadasakara. But bhikkhus, ascetics, when my true knowledge and vision of these Four Noble Truths as they really are turn like this, I was able to understand them in the Parivatta in three perspectives and 12 aspects. Parivatta Dwadasakara. Then Yatha Bhutang Jnana Dasanang Sushdowns. True knowledge and vision of these Four Noble Truths as they really are was thoroughly purified. So I was able to purify. That means I have a very, I have the perfect understanding about the Four Noble Truths because I understood them through the Parivatta and Dwadasakara. He's going to convince the monks over there. Ataham bhikkave sadevake loke samarake sabrahma. Then monks to the world which is Deva, Mara, Brahma, with its ascetics, Brahmins, Deva, Vamsa, I claim Anuttarang Samma Sambodhi Abhisambhuto Pachanyas. Means claim. I claim to have fully awakened and unsurpassed perfect awakening in this world. Then what happens? Jnanancha panami dasanang udapati. The jnana means the knowledge, and dasana means vision arousing. Akuppame cheto. I think cheto vimutti, we discussed about this thing before. I was able to obtain what you call akuppa cheto. What is cheto vimutti? The liberation of the mind. I think I have to discuss that with you before we go to the next. What does cheto vimutti mean? Cheto vimutti means, now when you meditate, you are certainly picking up an object, isn't it? You might take probably, in modern ways, some of the meditation, vipassana meditation. And when you practice these meditations, the teachers will give you certain objects. But in the, what you call Samma Sati practice, Satipatthanas, we don't have lots of objects. We just experience, observe what's happening. So what we are doing is that we are using a certain good object to replace the bad object. Let's say we have anger, we are bringing metta to replace anger. And we are probably having jealousy, we are bringing mudita to that moment of experience. And we are having lots of ignorance about life, and we are bringing panya. That means we are replacing objects. So the Buddha says, at a certain point of our meditation experience, we will come to a point that even objectifying, bringing objects to our meditation will become a problem itself. So the Buddha says we need to free our mind from object. We call it cheto vimutti. Now in the samatha meditation, what is happening at the end is cheto vimutti. Earlier you had vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggata. As you proceed, as you improve in your jhanas, what is happening is that you are removing vitakka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekaggata. You finally come down to upekha, equanimity, which means you have been, what you call, removing even the jhana factors. So cheto vimutti means, the Buddha said, we have to free our mind from different objects when we are really progressing in our meditation. That is cheto. But when we are doing this cheto vimutti, at a certain point, we will come to a point that even we have to free us from wisdom. We call it panya vimutti. Cheto vimutti, panya. That means now, how are we practicing panya in our daily life? Is it by effort or by default? Do we have to struggle a lot to have panya? Or does panya come automatically to us in our daily activities? How does panya arise in your life? We have to bring lots of virya and then to keep our panya. It's a bit of effort. Most of the time it's effort. So till you become a sotapan, at least to become an arahant, you are not going to have panya by default. You are not thinking with panya. That's why the Buddha said one day when you become an arahant, you are having the second vimutti. We call it panya vimutti. You have to free you even from wisdom. We are trying level base to get to the wisdom. But when you become an arahant, you are going to free you from that particular wisdom too, because you are by nature, by default, you have panya. Now, going back here, you can say Buddha talks about the cheto, kind of cheto, but this cheto vimutti is different from the jhanas, normal meditations cheto. This is akuppa. Very interesting Pali word. Akuppa. What does akuppa mean? Akuppa means unshakable. This cheto vimutti is unshakable. That means it is not just I liberate myself from the mind. And that state of mind is unshakable. I will not expire from that stage. Akuppa. And he also further went on to say that this is my last birth. I am Antima Jati Naktidani Punabhavuti. I understood that There's no continuation of my existence. Right. So what we need to understand today in our Sutta discovery is what we call how to understand the Four Noble Truths. We cannot understand the Four Noble Truths without the Parivatta and Dwadasanga, without three perspectives and 12 aspects. So this is what we've been learning today. So when you think about the Four Noble Truths, today you need to understand just by having an understanding about them, having a knowledge about the Four Noble Truths is not enough. I think this, you may have it more or less, but that is not enough. You need to understand what is to be done in terms of that knowledge. That is called Kichanya. Knowledge is called Satchanya. Then as you proceed, as you progress well, then you come to a point, if things are going to be successful, that you have already achieved that state of mind. Call it Katanya. Satchanyana, Kichanyana, Katanya. Satcha means a good knowledge about that particular noble truth. Kichanyana is understanding what is to be done in terms of that particular noble truth. And Katanyana means a point that you understand. At a point you will understand that I have successfully done what is to be done in terms of understanding that particular noble truth. So this is very essential and very important in understanding the Four Noble Truths. In addition to that, if we go see the text again one more time, scroll up. I want you to think about these Pali words: Chakkung, Jnanang, Panya, Vicca, Alu. Okay. Chakkung here does not mean normal eyes. This means the Buddha had Chakkung Udapad. He got the Dhamma eye. Jnanang Udapad. Jnana means here knowledge. He was referring to knowledges that contemporary teachers in his time claimed. He said, I got the correct knowledge. Actually, are we supposed to get the correct knowledge in our Dhamma understanding? I think it's a good question. Don't talk about the Buddhahood. Are we supposed to get the right knowledge? Or are we just browsing through all these books and everything and then always collecting knowledge? Right? What is to be done? There are people who are just collecting Dhamma books all the time. Dhamma books, Dhamma reading, so many bookmarks and browsers. Why? So you have to, initially you may have to listen to many, but then you come down to a certain point that this is what I'm going to follow and learn. So we have to follow the correct knowledge. How do we know that this is correct knowledge? How to know that the knowledge that we are having is correct? We have to have certain proof whether this is given in the suttas, right? That is a good one. And also we have to understand that Buddhism is more than the text. Keep that in mind. The true Buddhism is more than the text, what is written in the text. While we understand the text, we have to keep in mind the real Buddhism is arising when we are going to practice. We understand it might be slightly different than in the books. This is happening, right? Before you get the driver's license, those instructors are telling you the road is a heaven, everybody is driving properly, carefully. But after you followed the whole book, when you go to the road, you see a lot of reckless drivers that are driving on the road. So you have to keep up with these people, cope up with these people, right? It's a different thing. That means in the practice, you will understand a lot of things. So that is going beyond the text. Right? It doesn't mean that we are bringing whatever our opinions to Buddhism, because we understand it in the proper way, in our own practice. So always try to find the correct knowledge, not the incorrect. So he got the correct knowledge. Then Panya Udapad, the highest wisdom. Vicca Udapad. Vicca means true knowledge. This is also knowledge. You can say true knowledge. Vicca. Aloko means he had this light light of what you call dispelling the darkness, right? Darkness of samsara. So these words have to be understood how he claim about his Buddhahood. All right, I think we can go for the Q&A now. All right, I think we got a question over here. How does the dependent origination, Paticca Samuppada, relate to the Four Noble Truths? It is very clear because Paticca Samuppada or dependent origination speaks of the cause and effect. Do you find the cause in the Noble Truths? What is the cause? The Buddha clearly mentioned the cause of the dukkha, isn't it? That is the cause. And then when you understand the cause, then you will see an effect, result, that is Nibbana. So, Patisamuppada is evident in the Four Noble Truths. Patisamuppada is the mechanism that is applicable to all the Buddhist theories. Everything in cause, effect, effect, cause. So, it's pretty clear. Dukkha is the cause, and then Tanha is the cause, and Nibbana is the effect, result. What exactly means by alu? Does that mean mind is very bright? Normally, you may have seen the Buddha talks about the mind in many suttas. He says, Pabassara midam bhikkave chitta. Our mind, our thoughts, they are initially very radiant, very pure actually. But tanchako agantuke upakkili sube upakkilita. As we grow, we are having lots of problems, lot of impurities onto our thoughts, right? So when you getting old, you may have lots of sanya, isn't it? Because you have lived long already. Then it is very difficult for you to then purify. That is why a baby has no problem, but they are not able to meditate that much. So aloku udapadi means that he saw the light. This light is not just the radiant mind. In order to become the Buddha, they must have the perfect mind beyond the radiant mind. The words you are using is bright mind, radiant mind, bright mind. It is beyond the bright mind. It means that he got the light from the darkness. Darkness is called samsara. So he got that light. Aloko means he got the light into that journey. Definitely mind has to be very bright and radiant to get to this level. So let's take it as dispelling the darkness of avijja, ignorance. Very good questions.
Bhante, I have a question.
Yes, Sonia, go ahead.
Yes, Bhante, about the 12 aspects, right, that you were teaching earlier. So at the level for the 3 aspects, at the level of the knowledge and the action to be taken. So it is not a progression. It's not a timeline. In other words, each of the four noble truths is happening at the same time, right? For the first and second aspect, is that the right way to understand it?
Do you mean that these 3 aspects must be arising together in terms of the Four Noble Truths?
So, for example, the Four Noble Truths, before we reach the third category where we fully understand it, there is action that we need to take. There is also the theoretical or intellectual understanding.
First level.
Yes, first level. So in other words, the first 2 aspects of each noble truth is actually not a timeline, but it's more like things that happen at the same time. Would that be?
Well, in terms of the Buddha's attaining, it could be at the same time. But for other normal beings, it might not be happening at the same time. They might take some time to practice them. Let's say that knowledge, they are building up the knowledge in many sansaric lives. Sometimes we may listen to Dhamma talks, but we are not going to the fruition of that understanding in this life, that knowledge. And then maybe, let's say we have the fruition of that knowledge, complete knowledge, but still our actions are not good enough to complete in terms of that particular noble truth. So I think for other people it might take a couple of lifetimes, but in the Buddha's case, he had all these within a very short time because he had done a lot of paramitas. Yeah. So it's very individualistic depending on the completion of paramitas. How to know that it is the true knowledge? Okay, this is actually ascertained by the Buddha himself, not by us. He is the one who is proclaiming that he got the Vijjaudapan, true knowledge. So even when someone, an enlightened person, going to become an enlightened person, that person will be able to distinguish the untrue knowledge, avijja and vijja. Vijja, avijja. Here, I can type for you. I think all of you know this Pali word. Avijja means called ignorance, and vijja means, as you can see, true knowledge. So only when you become an arahant, at that point only you can separate out these two. So you are asking how to know. You have to become an arahant to know that, to distinguish that. Otherwise, knowledge is such a very bombarded thing. It's very, it's a knowledge is it's a information factory. We are not going to do it from the sources. This is only an experiential thing. Only when someone attain to that point of stage, he or she can distinguish that this is true knowledge, this is untrue. Does kiccha mean to put into practice theory that we have learned in our daily life, and to contemplate, question, and to discuss with wise teachers and friends too? Yeah, I think you have put everything together. It's good. That means daily practice. This is how we are supposed to practice each noble truth. That is called kiccha. And we need not only the self-practice, but also we need to contemplate, reflect, question, approach the probably Sangha, probably good teacher, wise teacher, maybe Kalyana Mitra. So all these things are adding up to the kiccha. Is true knowledge same as insight? Let's go see the text again. You can see here, Chakkum Udapadi, Jnana Udapadi. Now, Jnana here, some translators have translated this Jnana to be insight. They have translated this to be insight. But we normally call Jnana means knowledge. So I don't know, what do you mean by insight? Perhaps you might ask this question from what you call the Vipassana. So this word was not used by the Buddha in the text. The word Pali word Vipassana has been used by commentator Buddhaghosa, and then other Burmese monks in the modern Vipassana movements. So I think it's better to take it as knowledge. Jnana is knowledge. Okay, we have other questions. One more. In Samyutta Nikaya, 56:11, line 56, 57. How do one understand the terms jnana, panya, vijja, alukku? Are these the same or they are different? I think I already explained a little bit. Let me translate again. Now, jnana means knowledge. Jnana means knowledge. The knowledge is not English knowledge. You take it as knowledge means gathering information. Now, this jnana means at that time in India, they had something called epistemology. This is the English word actually. Epistemology. This is a philosophical word. I would translate this to be means of gathering knowledge. All right. So epistemology. Now the idea at that time was, when you want to liberate yourself, you must have epistemology. What we call jnanas. There were different teachers who were talking different jnana, different knowledges, different epistemological methods, epistemological approaches. So here jnana means, I would say, epistemological path. Or I would say, according to Buddha, he quoted that he got the proper epistemology. Maybe he got the proper knowledge to follow. Panya is wisdom. Vijja here means true knowledge. True knowledge means the opposite of avijja. Aloko means what you call, this is kind of a figurative term about his enlightenment. Aloko here means that he got the light. Now, light here means going beyond the bright mind or maybe radiant mind. This is called the light he got by dispelling the darkness of samsara. They are different. I think that answers the question. Any other questions about today? Yes, I think there's a question. Yes, Leon, are you going to ask it? Let's go with it.
About the first noble truth.
Yes.
It says that we need to have an understanding of it. Okay. Then we need to have knowledge about it. Then we need to have understanding about it, and we come to the stage where we understood. Okay. Now, what is the level of having understood? Because I've read somewhere that that says that if you are considered to have understood it if you have sort of realized it with the body. Kayena pusitwa. What does that mean? How is that?
Kayena pusitwa is another context. I think somebody has compared Kayena pusitwa to this. Now you ask him the level, how to know it actually. Actually, dukkha, now if you look at again, let's go back to our the flyer with the poster here. Okay, here's the poster, right? First noble truth. You are talking about this point, second point, third point. Now, as you know, a good knowledge about the first noble truth. Then what is to be done? Actions that are needed to be taken for the first noble truth. And then when it comes to the third aspect, which means that you have completed the previous two. Now, Kayena pusitwa is not a proof at this point because it's a different context, another context. What can you think about these trees that you are trying to understand dukkha in its all entirety, many aspects? There are many teachings about dukkha, especially Dhammacakkapavatthana Suttas context, Satchebanga Suttas context, and then other many suttas like the sutta where Buddha talks about dukkha dukkhata, viparinama dukkhata, sankhara dukkhata. So a good understanding about these suttas, dukkha context with your personal life. That is Satchajnana. Now, what is to be done? How to understand? Parinyeya. The Pali word is Parinyeya. You can see that in the sutta. Parinyeya. Parinyeya is not just understand. Parinyeya means you are going to carefully look at each context of the dukkha. So you have to go to different contexts of the dukkha as well, because the Buddha says at the end, Sankittena Panchupadana Kanda. In short, clinging to the five aggregates is the dukkha. So you have to check every aggregate, every kanda, and what does clinging due to every khandha. So then only you will be fulfilling the first part of the what do you call first noble truth, Satchanyana. Kichanyana means what is to be done. Now you have to understand how to understand dukkha. Now you have the knowledge. Does it mean that you understand it? You do the parinyaya part. That means you have to bring this to your personal life. Have I been understanding dukkha which I understood at the Satchanyana level in my personal life? Or do I just ignore, avoid certain aspects of dukkha? I think I told you earlier, most of the people, they are taking dukkha as happiness, isn't it? They take dukkha as happiness. When you are asking them, they might say, no, it is not dukkha for me. For somebody else, it is dukkha. For that person, it is happiness. Sometimes, some people take happiness as dukkha. It is on the surface level, happiness. So it's very individualistic thing actually. Cannot. I think it's a personal understanding about dukkha, where you are carefully looking at. It's different, small or larger areas. When it comes to Kichanyana, we cannot say there's a one criteria to understand it in our practical life. So different people understand dukkha in different ways in their personal life. So that understanding is what we call as Kichana. So when that understanding goes to the complete level, that person will go through the Katanya, come to the complete understanding. Make sense? I think we got a question, two questions. Is there any particular reason why Buddha introduced Noble Eightfold Path first in this sutta before explaining? Yeah, there's a reason. What is the reason? I want to ask from you. I already explained to you. The reason is the 5 ascetics, they were still following the Attakilamatthana yoga. Right? They were following the Attakilamatthana, self-mortification. So Buddha wanted to tell them, now I found the right path, the proper path. That is neither the self-mortification, Attakilamatthana yoga, nor the other one, which I practiced when I was a prince, Kamasukallika. So he wanted to say that this is the most important thing in our spiritual path. Then only he discussed one by one later in this sutta. Actually, it is the same way how we describe. The reason is he wanted to tell 5 ascetics that there is the better path, the best path, which will not fall onto their one and the other one. Please elaborate on Katanyana, on the 3rd noble truth. Okay. What does it mean Nibbana has been realized? It means Nibbana has been attained. Yeah, realized means attained. Let's go to the Katanyana in terms of the 3rd noble truth. Okay, that's gonna be here. You are asking about this one. Okay, now again, knowledge about the 3rd noble truth, actions to be taken. That means you are gonna realize it. What needs me to do to realize it? Nibbana, right? And then let's say you are attaining Nibbana. Then you are making sure you are telling yourself that you attain Nibbana. That is called Katanyana. Please explain or elaborate Sankhara Dukkha. Okay, what is Sankhara Dukkha? Sankhara means conditioned phenomena, right? Sankhara has many meanings, but here Sankhara means conditioned phenomena. Are we going through pain, dukkha with Sankhara Dukkha? Yes. Now let's say someone we know is passing away, right? Someone who we have a relationship with, going to pass away, going to die. Can we take it very easily? We might just show that, no, it's a small thing, everybody has to die. But it's not. Because we are emotionally attached to that person. It's not very easy to take it, understand it, let go from heart. We will let go from the brain from the mind. But then you might be holding your tears, but you are coming up with your pain again. So, Sankhara Dukkhata means that whatever the thing, maybe something that has a life, something that has no life. Now we have life, things that were made without life. They all are made up from something else or somebody else. Now you are made up from your mother, father. They are made up from their mother, father, right? So when we are dealing with these sankharas, people and things, when the sankharas are going to break, when the sankharas are going to stop their life, then we have a kind of dukkha about that break up, that death. That is called sankhara dukkha. So we cannot understand sankharas at that point. The Buddha said it is a dukkha. That's why the Buddha said, understand or go to the asankhara. The only asankhara is nibbana. Because nibbana is not conditioned by anything. Every other thing, humans, animals, deva, yakka, naga, mahitika, things, they all are made up by somebody else, something else. So they all are under the sankharas. Remember, when the Buddha became the Buddha, he said, Aneka jati sansarang sandha visang anibhisang gahakarakang gavi santu dukha jati punam punang gahakaraka dittusi punagi hangnakahasi sabbate pasuka bagga gahakutang visankitang visankara gatang chittang. That's the point. Visankara gatang chittang. His mind has gone to visankara. From sankhara to visankara. Now our mind is on sankhara. We are always being with sankharas, people and other things. But the Buddha's mind went to visankara. So he has no pain about it. He has no dukkha about it. But we have sankhara dukkha. Sankhara dukkha once again means the dukkha that is coming to us because we are liking or emotionally attaching to things that were made up by other people or by other things. All right.